Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn, and in this video, we have another practice speaking test. This time, it's with Roman from Ukraine. Remember, if you'd like to have your own free practice speaking test with feedback, join one of my groups. I'm on Facebook and Telegram, links in the description. But let's get to today's test. Enjoy. Good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
Good afternoon. My full name is Roman Kisley, and you can call me just Roman.
Okay, thank you, Roman. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study?
Mm. Currently, I'm a high school student, and this autumn I'm going to apply to a university.
And what are you planning to study at university?
Mm, I'm going to study computer science, but to be more precise, artificial intelligence engineering, because I've been mm, fascinated by programming, maybe from the fifth grade or so.
And what are you planning to do when you finish your studies?
I have a couple of options. Firstly, I might find a job, but I don't think that's a good choice for me. And secondly, maybe I will run my own business, which will be might be a programming school.
Now let's talk about sleeping. Do you usually get enough sleep?
Yes, I would say so. Usually I sleep for about 8 hours or even more. Mm, In the past, I used to sleep less, about 6 or 7 hours, but now it's fine.
And what do you usually do before you go to bed at night?
Mm. Usually I like reading before bed. I spend, I would say, about 30 minutes, as well as I do not mind to listen to a couple of songs.
And when did you last stay up really late?
Hmm. I think it was last week when I was preparing for the IELTS exam. Uh, I need to write. I needed to write about 5 essays in that day, and I think I go to the bed at 1 a.m.
And how were your sleeping habits different when you were a child?
Mhm. As I have mentioned before, in the past I used to sleep for about 7 hours, as well as yeah, I used mm, to go to the bed late and wake up as well late. But nowadays, I wake up about 6 a.m. and I think it is a good tendency.
Now let's talk about the news. How often do you check the news?
Mm, in the past, I used to checking news about 3 times per day, but now I try to avoid them because I think they are just a waste of time, and I can do much more important things. For instance, learn something new.
And what platforms do you usually use for news?
Mm, Usually, I read them online. I have several of my favorites websites. For instance, the New York Times, The Economist. Um, yeah, I've never read news on newspapers or on radio or something like that. For me, those methods are old-fashioned.
And do you often speak about the news with your friends and family?
With friends, I try to avoid news because when we start talking about them, usually we talk about politics, and you know, I think with friends, you should try to speak about something else. For me, like talking about education is more important. With family, I would say I talk about news a little bit more often, but not too much as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you'll have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Mhm. I will now share the topic on my screen. Can you see the topic?
Yes, I can.
Mhm. I'd like you to talk about an object that you've had for a very long time. Your 1 minute of preparation starts now. Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind you, you'll have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. I would like to talk about the camera. I received it as a present about 8 years ago. And since then, I've been taking a lot of pictures and photos almost every week. Uh, it looks, to be honest with you, like a cheap one. So they're definitely much more expensive somewhere on the internet. And it is important for me because I've taken a lot of photos which are important for me, photos of my family members, of my friends as well, especially last summer. Uh, I was with my friends, we were riding uh, on our bicycles to the nearest cities, and we had an incredible time together. And every time we went somewhere, I turned on my camera and started filming everything, as well as made a lot of photos. So it reminds me just about my friends, about our friendship, and I think it will be hard for me to find a replacement for this thing. Uh, as well as, um, nowadays people tend to use mobile phones as cameras, but I think cameras are more unique because on telephone, on a phone, you have a lot of distractors,
Okay,
and
thank
it
you.
is.
All right, so you've been talking about this camera that you've had for a very long time. Let's talk a little more about possessions now. What kinds of things do people usually keep for a long time?
Hmm, maybe things that remind them of good times in the past. Like for me, it was a camera with photos of my friends and family members. Maybe as well some things from their childhood, maybe their favorite toys, or I don't know, maybe favorite book. I also had a book which was a present I received in, I don't know, 2015 or so, and it is quite important for me even now.
And why do some people keep things even though they don't use them much?
Well, as I said before, maybe just uh, because they reminds them of something good. And if you had a hard day, a long day, and you want to rest, this for me it is quite relaxing to find something old and just look at it. Maybe it will remind me some good memories. I will recall the story of this object.
Nowadays, of course, some things like smartphones and game consoles are everyday objects. What new objects might appear in the future as everyday objects?
Hmm. It's hard to predict actually, but maybe I think it will be something related to AI. Maybe we all have some kind of gadget which will be controlled by AI. It will be our friend, or so we would be able to ask it everything what we would like to know. Yeah, basically that's it.
Mhm. And what kind of possessions sometimes show that a person is successful?
Mm, maybe their gadgets. First of all, their mobile phone, because nowadays there are a lot of expensive phones, expensive brands like iPhone or others. And if you see that a person has a brand new iPhone 16 or something like that, you can easily understand that it is a well-off person. As well as maybe you can see that it is a rich person by what they wear. If you see that it is brand clothes, you also might recognize that it is not a poor person.
Mhm. Let's talk more about success now, then. So sometimes we judge people and their success on their possessions. What are some other things that can help us to decide if a person is successful or not?
Hmm. Maybe we should um, take attention to, for instance, what their achievements are. Maybe uh, they are studying, for instance, in a university, and they applied here not because of their rich parents, but because they had good marks at school, and maybe they also participated in different projects. So maybe earned some certificates, earned some prizes, won competitions, and I think because all these activities requires a lot of time, energy, I think it is a good indicator that a person is successful.
Mhm. Mm, So some people say that to be successful in life, you always need some luck. Do you agree?
Mm, no, I completely disagree with this statement because I think that if a person spend enough time on what they do and as well as energy, I think um, it is there's nothing impossible for them. It is all achievable. But yeah, it depends how much effort and energy they should spend on this activity, as well as motivation relates as well. You need to be motivated all the time, maybe just by reminders that your goal is important for you, and
Okay,
you must try your best.
thank you. That is the end of the test. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this practice speaking test with Roman. As always, let me know in the comment section what score you think the candidate deserves for this performance. As always, I'll make my own follow-up video probably tomorrow with my own comments, feedback, and importantly, my own marks. Yeah, in the meantime, if you'd like to have your own free practice speaking test with feedback, or if you'd like me to check your IELTS writing, I get all of my candidates from my Telegram channel or my Facebook group. Links to both of those are in the description. If you don't want to go through this random process because candidates are selected at random, if you'd prefer to book a speaking test, or you'd prefer to book a writing check, then you can do that, but it costs money, and information on that is given on my website, expertexaminer.com. More videos coming soon, but for now, bye bye.